everyone and welcome. Today I'm going to show you all the books that I plan to read in June. Now, as always, I have a little bit more books on my pile than what I can usually get to in 1 month. So if you are curious to hear my thoughts on one of these books, or if you want to buddy read one of them with me, please let me know in the comments down below so I know which ones to prioritize. Now, I've definitely overdone myself this month, not so much in the amount of books, but definitely the length of some of these books. Some are absolute tomes, and it's definitely true for the first book that I am going to pick up in June. That is Memories of Ice by Stephen Erickson. So this is the third book in the Netland Book of the Fallen series, of course. I really enjoyed Gardens of the Moon, and I liked That House Gates, the second book, even more. So I am quite excited to get to Memories of Ice. Now, this is part of a read-along that Steve is hosting, and I think that the 12th of June we have our spoiler-filled discussion for this one. So after I have finished up my last read of May, I am going to jump into this one, and I do hope that this will be my favorite one of the three so far. Now, together with Steve, I am also going to do another buddy read, and I think that some other booktubers are also going to join us, and that is for the Prince of Nothing series by R. Scott Baker. I think that this is going to be the darkest series to date that I will pick up, so I'm a little bit nervous for this one. I have heard that in terms of the writing style, it's quite similar to Malazan, so I am excited for that. And I also heard that there is a big theme of religion in these books, which is something that I absolutely adore. But I have also heard that a lot of, especially female booktubers, don't really enjoy this because there's a lot of sexism in it. Now, usually I don't really mind that, but that in combination with this being the darkest series that I've ever picked up, I don't really know what to expect and how that will affect me. But a lot of people that I know and trust have told me that I am going to like this one, so let's see. It's also a tome, then Memories of Ice was a tome, and then the third book that I will be picking up in June probably is Words of Radiance by Brandon Sanderson, so the second book in the Stormlight Archive series. If you haven't seen, I recently put up my spoiler-filled vlog for the first book, which is The Way of Kings, and it was a fine read, but I wasn't really blown away by it. So I'm now curious to see if Words of Radiance is better. A lot of people have told me that Way of Kings is the weakest book of the entire series, so that does make me very hopeful. And also some of the POVs that are added in this one do sound very interesting as well. Now, full transparency here. This one, I don't really know if I'm going to pick up in June or finish in June, because that will depend on when the spoiler-filled discussion for this book is going to take place. I still need to pick a date with everybody else who is involved. That will take place in July. But if it's the 20th of July, for example, I will only pick this up in July. So it's on the list because there is a pretty big chance that I will at least have to start it in June, but it's possible that it will be postponed to July. But those three books are already pretty big, so we will see if I can get to much more than those in terms of physical reads. All of these are physical reads. We will talk about the audiobooks at the end. And then I have another pretty big book, and that is Beneath the Twisted Trees by Bradley P. Bolio. So this is the fourth book in the Song of the Shattered Sand series. I really want to finish this series this year. I have loved the first three books, so I think that I will also like the fourth book. I just love the revenge plot. We have Cheda here. We also have 12 Immortal Kings. We have desert gods who have something to do with these Immortal Kings. And of course we have Cheda unraveling all of that. We have a lot of political intrigue. There is so much going on in these books, which is also why I just really want to get to this fourth one before I forget some important stuff of the previous books. But it's a big one, we will see. But I still need to read the fourth book, the fifth book, and the sixth book before the end of the year, and that should be possible. Next up, a book that ever since it arrived on my doorstep, I've been wanting to pick it up. It's very short, I can easily squeeze it in, but somehow it never really got onto any of my TBRs. But that is going to change in June. And that is Summers at Castle Auburn by Sharon Shin. This one came out in the early 2000s. So in terms of booktube, this is definitely an older fantasy book. And I have been wanting to get to some backlog fantasy. So this is perfect. I have heard that if you like Daughter of the Forest by Juliette Merlier, which is my favorite book of all time, you're going to love this one. It's only 300 pages, so I'm definitely going to give this one a try. Then I have two new releases that I really want to read for my new releases series. The first one I had on my May TBR, but I just couldn't really get to it, and that is Netland Boom by T. Kingfisher. Now, T. Kingfisher is the author of The Raven and the Reindeer, which is a fairy tale that I read last year, and I absolutely adored it, and this is her original fairy tale. I have heard that it's dark, but it also has its patches of humor, and that sounds absolutely perfect. And also, this is 300 pages, so another very short read. Next up, a new release that was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. I thought that it was a standalone. Apparently it's the first one in a trilogy, the Sandsea trilogy, and that is The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah. I think that this is a reimagining of the 1001 Nights stories, and so it is Arabian inspired. I have heard nothing but great things about this one, so of course very excited to pick this one up. And I'm a little bit bummed out maybe that it's the first in a trilogy, because I do like new releases to be standalones, because if it's a very good one, I don't want to wait so long for the sequel, but it is what it is, I suppose. And for my last physical reads, after this we are going to go to some audiobooks. I actually need your help, because in June I want to make a 24-hour reading vlog, and I actually have 2 books that I think are perfect to read in 24 hours. The first one is The Last Unicorn by Peter S. Beagle, which is a very classic fairy tale. It has a movie that is based upon this, and I absolutely loved that movie as a child. And the other one is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. Neil Gaiman is an author that I've been wanting to try for such a long time. I do think that this is an original fairy tale as well, and this one also has a movie that's based upon it. So one of these 2 books I want to read and vlog, and then of course also watch the movie afterwards for all of you. So please let me know if you want me to read The Last Unicorn and watch that movie, or Stardust and watch that movie. And I will probably open a poll on the community tab for this question. Now, over to all the audiobooks. I actually only have 4, so I think that this is around the amount that I can listen to. The first one is actually one that I think I can listen to in a day, because it's a very short novella, and that is When the Tiger Came Down the Mountain by Niveau. This is the second one in her series of novellas. The first one was The Empress of Salt and Fortune, which I absolutely adored, so of course I'm very looking forward to reading this book. It's only 120 pages. I think that on audio, it's 2 hours if you listen to 2 times speed, which I normally do, so I can definitely binge this in a day, and I'm so looking forward to that. And then one that I'm quite proud of, that I have it on the list, because this means that I will finish a trilogy, and that is The Emperor of Thorns by Mark Lawrence. So this is of course King of Thorns. I don't have the 3rd one yet, which is the finale of the Broken Empire trilogy, and I just wanted to hold something up because otherwise I would forget talking about it. Now, Prince of Thorns, the first one, was fine. It was a little bit middle of the road for me. It had a lot of things that I didn't really enjoy. King of Thorns was a huge step up, especially the second part I really enjoyed. I liked the plot more, I liked the characters more, and I do hope that the 3rd one, Emperor of Thorns, is going to bring it home, and that will be my favorite of the trilogy. In any case, I really enjoyed Mark Lawrence's writing style in this trilogy, so I will be picking up more by him. But that means that in 3 months I have finished this trilogy, which is definitely an achievement for me, because I normally take years to finish a series, so happy about that. Next up, of course, I needed to put Robin Hobb on the list. This is Dragon City, the 3rd book in the Rainwild Chronicles. I have listened to the 1st and the 2nd book. I really enjoyed them. I think that the 2nd one was miles better than the 1st one, but I already enjoyed the 1st one, so I'm really enjoying my time in the realm of the Elderlings, of course, as always. Now, this is the 3rd book. If I have room at the end of the month, I will probably just listen to the 4th one as well, or start listening to that one, so I can finish that quartet. But the last book that I have on the TBR as an audiobook is a very big one, so it's very well possible that I won't be able to do that with the Rainwild Chronicles, because this one is Dark Age by Pierce Brown. It's 800-ish pages, so I think that this is a very long audiobook. I've said goodbye to this series, the Red Rising series, for a very long time. I think that I listened to all of them last year, and then Iron Gold was a disappointment for me. I didn't really like the multiple POVs. I only cared for Darrow's POV, so the other ones were a little bit But towards the end of that book, I actually started caring for some of them. So I hope that means that Dark Age will be one of my favorites yet again. And I have heard that this is extremely dark, like Grimdark Plus, but then in sci-fi. So that does leave me very curious to see what all of that is about. And if I finish this one, this also means that I'm on track with the Red Rising series. So only pluses in that regard. So those are all of the books that I plan to read in June. Please let me know what you plan to pick up. Do you have a TBR, and what is your highest priority if that is the case? Or are you more of a mood reader? Let me know in the comments down below. By the way, I will also leave my last haul video right here, because a couple of the books that I talk about in this TBR I actually hauled in that video. As always, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and see you next time. Bye!